In the not-too-distant future, a massive war completely destroys the world. Now Earth has become a post-apocalyptic wasteland known as the Lost Lands, and all that remains of humanity is centered in a single city. It is ruled by a High Lord, and the Church is responsible for maintaining order. One day, a woman named Grey is about to be hanged on charges of witchcraft, and the executioner uses her as a visual warning to those who dare to defy the Church. After the executioner leaves, Grey uses his magic to cause one of the soldiers to hallucinate that he himself is the one hanging in the noose. Wanting to escape, he shoots the rope and coincidentally frees Grey. He then thinks she is standing next to him and opens fire, killing, however, another soldier. When the executioner learns of the incident, she kills the bewitched soldier and leads the others to search for Grey. As the group scours the room, Grey remains undetected in the shadows to kill the soldiers one by one until only the executioner remains. Grey manages to corner her by threatening her with a knife, and the executioner urges her to do so. But instead of granting a quick death, Grey decides to hang her. As she walks away, the crowd parts before her and admonishes her as a witch that can't be broken. At this time, Boyce rides alone on his horse, but stops at the tunnel, anticipating an ambush. As soon as he says it aloud, a group of men appear from hiding. One of them attempts to steal Boyce's gun. However, a two-headed snake is attached to it, which immediately kills him. Boyce then clenches his hands, causing the guns to appear, and quickly destroys the entire gang, preventing them from harming him. Before moving on, he makes sure to pick up his snake. Returning to Grey, she finds shelter in a tower and leaves some money for a blind woman who recognizes her for her kindness. Later, they are visited by the Queen and Gerais, captain of the guard. The Queen wishes to acquire the ability to turn into a wolf and pays with exquisite jewelry. Grey never refuses anyone and accepts the order, explaining that she will hire a hunter to kill the werewolf and gain its power. Her deadline will coincide with the next full moon, which will be in 6 days. As Grey prepares her blades to leave, Gerais also tries to fulfill his wish. He wants Grey to fail with the Queen. He swears loyalty to her, but believes that gaining this power will ruin her. Grey doesn't believe him and assumes he's just jealous, but since she refuses no one, accepts his watch as payment. Following this, Grey uses a spell to look around the Lost Lands and find what she needs. She sees a group of men trying to fight a huge wolf, but they are all killed within seconds. Meanwhile, the High Lord is lying in bed asking the Queen for help because he has wet himself again. The Queen calls the maids while insulting her husband, clearly tired of having to take care of him. Moments later, she kisses Boyce, revealing that they are having an affair. When Boyce tries to leave the castle unnoticed, he is stopped by guards. He then spits the alcohol he was drinking into a torch, setting one of the guards on fire. He then punches another, throwing him down the stairs. Later in the bar, Grey approaches Boyce and tries to hire him as a hunter, as he is known for his knowledge of the Lost Lands. Boyce prefers only to gamble, so Grey plays against him and easily wins the first round. He is still hesitant to accept her assignment, since most people do not survive in the Lost Lands. Grey then tells him that if she ever starts to hold him back, he has her permission to leave her behind. Boyce then tells her about a great wolf that lives in a place called the River of Skulls. Grey realizes that this name fits her vision and promises to pay Boyce by the hour if he escorts her there. At the same moment, a group of soldiers enter the bar, and one of them opens fire from above. But Boyce throws a snake at him to kill him quickly. The body falls, and the snake jumps onto another soldier's arm. His partner cuts off the limb and the snake slips away. The executioner then joins the battle and quickly kills the snake with his knife. When she turns around, Grey and Boyce have already disappeared. In the church, the patriarch reminds everyone that witches and heretics must be brought to justice. The crowd pretends to pray while secretly passing a note of rebellion. After Mass, it is revealed that the patriarch knows about the note, and he notices that Grey has become a symbol of the rebellion. The executioner brings in a blind woman and steps on her hand, until she reveals that Gerais and the Queen visited Grey. The patriarch orders the executioner to find Grey, make her confess to manipulating their leaders, and then hang her. In the Lost Lands, Grey and Boyce camp out for the night. Boyce tries to catch a new snake, but doesn't find one he likes. While Gray is trying to sleep, Boyce approaches her with his blade. She stops him with her knife. However, he was there to kill a scorpion that was about to sting her. The next day, the couple makes it to a trading post run by brother and sister Mara and Ross, old friends of Boyce's. Mara kisses Boyce before they are invited inside. Boyce explains that they'll find the werewolf in a week, but Gray says she needs it in a few days. So Boyce decides that they will take a very dangerous shortcut. That night, Boyce and Mara have fun and regret that they only see each other once a year. When the pair leave in the morning, Boyce warns Mara that the two of them are the only friendly faces in the Lost Lands. Gray notices the skeleton of a beast in a cage. Meanwhile, the executioner and all his soldiers begin their search in the Lost Lands by train. The Queen goes to the Patriarch as he authorized the use of the train without her consent. Not to mention he sent all the soldiers away, leaving the city vulnerable. The Patriarch says he's heard rumors of her betrayal, but the Queen assures him it's all lies. Later, the Patriarch calls the executioner on the train phone and says he's convinced the Queen is lying, so they need to catch the witch quickly. If they arrest the Queen for treason and the ailing High Lord dies soon, the Patriarch can take control of the city. A short while later, the soldiers find Ross and Mara and torture them until Mara confesses that Gray and Boyce are headed for the River of Skulls. Before leaving, they kill the brother and sister and burn down their trading post. The next day, Gray and Boyce reach Raskull, a city in ruins, full of chasms. They enter an old building with a cable car, and Boyce looks for a driver who will take anyone for money. The man doesn't respond when Boyce calls his name, so the pair begin to search the building. Unfortunately, they discover that the driver has been hanged, which means the soldiers got here first. As the couple tries to leave, the executioner and her men surround them. They are willing to let Boyce go if he gives them Gray, and show Mara's body as proof of the seriousness of their intentions. At this point, Mara wakes up and speaks Boyce's name, and the executioner shoots her to kill her permanently. Boyce goes into a rage and opens fire. Gray slides forward to fight the soldier and take possession of his weapon. She also begins firing, and acting in concert, she and Boyce quickly take out all the men around them. Unfortunately, there is a horde of soldiers lurking on the train, and now they come out to join the fight. Boyce and Gray continue to fight and kill as many of the enemy as they can, but the soldiers arrive continuously, and their numbers become uncontrollable. To make matters worse, Gray is running out of bullets. The couple tries to escape. However, a cannon is mounted on the train, firing at them. Fortunately, they move fast enough to just fall down without being injured. They then rush to the cable car, and Boyce frees it by shooting the coil. The soldiers are still trying to get to them, so Gray and Boyce begin to fight them hand to hand to keep them off the carriage. Since it is now traveling over a huge chasm, the soldiers fall from a great height to their death. Several men appear on the roof of the wagon, and Gray immediately climbs up to fight them with her blades. She moves quickly to defeat most of them and makes a big jump to the edge of the wagon, forcing the last guy to follow her. Now she can just chop his arm off, causing him to fall. Inside the wagon, Boyce is also engaged in hand-to-hand combat with the few remaining soldiers. Seeing the defeat of his men, the executioner orders a soldier to cut the cables. The wagon now hangs on its side, and Gray has to hold on to it with his blades. Boyce breaks a window so another soldier falls through. The executioner then shoots another cable, and the wagon falls, sliding through the building before crashing into the chasm wall. Gray and Boyce begin to climb the rocky wall and manage to leave the wagon just before it collapses. The executioner opens fire and hits Boyce in the shoulder while he is still climbing, but Gray has already reached the top and uses her powers to distract the executioner. This allows the pair to disappear. That night, Boyce removes the bullet from the wound and Gray sews it up. Boyce thinks of his lost friends and vows revenge on the executioner. Before going to sleep, they watch the colors and lightning in the sky. The next day, the Queen discovers she is pregnant. She knows the father is Boyce, but pretends it is the High Lord. Now that she has an heir to secure the throne, she places a pillow over the High Lord's face and smothers him to death. Meanwhile, Gray and Boyce reach the Shadow of Evil, an area filled with demons at night. However, they hear the executioner's train coming for them, so they have no choice but to stay here. They hide inside a cooling tower and break many canisters to spread gas on the ground. When night falls, the lights in the tower turn on and a demon tries to attack them. Boyce throws a lighter on the gas to create a ring of fire surrounding him and Gray. Soon, more demons enter the tower, and the pair have to open fire, but their bullets don't do much damage. The demons bring a metal plank and place it on top of the fire to create a bridge. Boyce blocks their path by kicking a gas canister and firing at it. The demon jumps when the canister explodes and pounces on Boyce to attack him. But Gray pulls him away, piercing the demon with his blades. When the demon wriggles around trying to grab her, Gray has to jump and fight him hand to hand. Boyce lunges at the creature and impales it on a metal bar, while Gray throws her blade at another gas tank. This time, the explosion is more powerful and draws the attention of the demon leader, who is watching from the top of the tower with his minions. They jump down and pounce on both men. The leader calls out to Gray by name, telling her that she shouldn't have come back here. Gray uses magic to make him retreat and releases fire from her hand, controlling the entire fire circle so that it turns into a huge fire tornado, burning all the demons, including the leader. Afterward, Boyce notices that he didn't feel the heat of the flames. Gray explains that it was unreal. She used an illusion to make the demons think they were burning, and they died from the placebo effect. She reveals that there is a great treasure full of power hidden there, and many years ago, a certain man hired her to steal it. However, the place is so corrupted that it turned that man and his minions into the demons they encountered. The next day, the Patriarch announces that the High Lord is dead, but the Queen is pregnant, so the child will become the new High Lord. The citizens don't react, so Gerace fires into the air, causing the crowd to chant in favor of the Queen and her child. The Patriarch then kneels before the Queen, promising to advise her wisely. In private, however, he insults her and calls the executioner to rush her. The Queen also makes plans and kisses Gerace, manipulating him, hoping to use his army for her own personal gain. Boyce and Gray arrive at the Fields of Fire. Boyce announces that they will reach their goal the next day. The battle with the werewolf will be dangerous, so Gray thinks Boyce should take the payment and leave. He refuses and asks her to come back with him, but she can't because the curse forces her to take on every task. The next day, Boyce and Gray are crossing a tunnel when they hear a train approaching. Since they can't run away from it, they devise a plan. Gray gets on the tracks and waits until the train gets close enough before he starts running. The executioner immediately causes the train to chase her, not realizing it is a trap. Gray leads it to a broken section of rail and jumps at the last second so that Boyce can catch her. The train can't stop and falls into the abyss, causing an explosion that kills the executioner and all her men. When the Patriarch learns of this, he tries to gather his guards to take the throne by force. However, Gerace and his army suddenly surround him to kill him and the remaining soldiers, leaving the Queen as the sole ruler in the city. Afterward, Gerace and the Queen celebrate by indulging in consolations. The next day, Gray and Boyce arrive at the River of Skulls, an area strewn with the bones of wolf victims. They examine an old building and find signs that someone lives there, but no one is in sight. Boyce tells Gray that they should go back, but Gray wants to complete his mission. When night falls, Gray covers her fingers with silver claws and goes outside. Boyce tries to stop her again, but it's too late. The full moon has risen and is causing his transformation. It turns out that he's been a werewolf all along, and Gray thinks he agreed to lead her here to bring her in and kill her. Boyce's body grows in size and his clothes tear as he completes his transformation into a huge wolf. Gray throws his watch at him before beginning to fight him with his silver claws. But Boyce is clearly stronger and easily flicks it away. Gray then creates an illusion by sending a flock of birds after him, allowing her to hide. As Boyce leaps to attack the large bird, the illusion dissipates and reveals Gray piercing him with her claws. Boyce tries to defend himself, but he's too weak now, and after a few more blows, Gray turns on him. He raises his arms in a final effort as Gray prepares to deliver the decisive blow. A few seconds later, Boyce wakes up, covered in scars. Gray gives him water and tells him to rest. Boyce falls asleep, and when he next wakes up, he finds himself in chains. It turns out that when Gray was sewing up his wounds, she hid silver under his skin, which has been poisoning him all along. As she prepares to kill him, Boyce says he has a wish and reminds her that she can't say no to anyone. He wants them to be together and hunt together to end their loneliness. Gray agrees, pointing out that there is a price to pay. At that moment, the clouds part and the moon causes Boyce to turn again. Then Gray begins to cut into his chest. The next morning, Gray places a watch on Boyce's grave and leaves with his hide. As she enters the city, the slaves chant her name, and some guards try to calm them down to no avail. Soon, the rebels tear down the church's giant cross. Gray gives the hide to Gerace with instructions for the queen on how to gain her power. When Gerace points out that she didn't fulfill his assignment, Gray explains that she killed the queen's lover, and now Gerace can have her, which was his real desire. Later, the queen has a breakdown when she realizes that the hide belongs to the dead Boyce. Her goal has always been to become a beast to be with him, but Gerace points out that Boyce has corrupted her. The queen realizes he betrayed her and takes a stiletto to stab Gerace in the neck, killing him. The rebels take this chance to break into the castle and kill all the guards, whose bullets are powerless against so many people. When the sun rises, it burns the hide until there is nothing left of it but ashes. At the same time, Boyce's grave begins to shake. Sometime later, a revived Boyce finds Gray with the intention of killing her. However, Gray confesses that she always knew he was the queen's lover. She planned it so that the rebels could finally defeat their oppressors, and Boyce survived at the end. Boyce tries to shoot anyway, but his gun misfires. Then he attacks with a knife. Gray dodges, and their blades end up pointed at each other's necks. When Gray reminds him that this is what he wished for, Boyce agrees, and now the pair set off together to travel the Lost Lands.